If you guys didn't know, so some guy by the name of Synthetic Man, he made a review on the Fallout series. Now, in my opinion, I adored the Fallout series. So honestly, watching the first review, it was complete absolute brain rot. I disagreed with almost everything he said. I genuinely enjoyed the show. So I'm gonna go into this review with the healthy mindset, and hopefully I can agree to whatever he says. I watched the first couple seconds of it. But let's go back.
Season 1. Starting off with episode 2, we have easily the worst episode of the show.
I do agree with him. Episode 2 was a bit slow, but beyond that, I still think it was fine.
Starts off where we see an Enclave research facility, I guess, and the one not evil Enclave scientist who spares a German Shepherd from incineration and takes it as his own. For some reason that is never explained, by the way, he gets access.
I feel like it's one of those things where I don't feel like it doesn't really need an explanation because I don't know.
To this extremely important artifact that is the MacGuffin that drives
the
entire.
Wait, so you just admit? Yeah, no, it's a MacGuffin. It doesn't really need an explanation. It's just a MacGuffin. In my opinion, I feel like your mindset is never healthy. Shut up, Luke. Shut. You know what? I'll find you, Lucas. I'll find. Oh, my bad. Shadowix.
Plot of the show. And in fact, after this scene, the Enclave never shows up again in the show. Long story short, he has to escape from the facility.
What?
An auto turret shoots at him and misses.
Okay, I'll say this though. The auto turret scene was kind of bad. Like the fact that it couldn't shoot its shots, that actually was really unhealthy. Like not healthy. See how you got me saying stuff, Lucas? No, that was really bad. I thought it was like who knew to escape a turret? All you had to do was walking distance. Although at the same time, the turrets weren't really that good in the game either. So
fucking shot as he's moving at 2 miles an hour. Look at how bad this looks. Just remember that people actually like this show. Every time you see shit like this,
I can let that slide. It's goofy.
In the next scene, we see Lucy explore the desert wasteland of California, and the Enclave scientist finds her at night conveniently and tries to explain to her that the wasteland is an inhospitable nightmare where the creatures there have adapted to become more lethal and she needs to adapt in kind. This is one of many scenes where it shows Lucy is incredibly naive about the state of the world and she needs to become hardened to survive.
Yeah, see, like you're contradicting yourself now. Like you said last time, oh, she's an empowered female that has no issues, but legit, like you're saying that she's ignorant to the world, and she is. That's what I know about the entirety of the series, that she's legit ignorant to the world. So actually, no, yeah, no, I feel like that. Like, are we finally on? I feel like we're both finally on an agreeing stance here.
Guess what? She never does.
Never mind.
Next scene, we're back with Maximus, and we soon learn that the knight that he's serving under is a pathetic weakling asshole and probably also racist. Yeah, for some reason.
What? Racist? Okay. Never once did I ever get a racist vibe from Knight Titus. Like maybe a douchebag asshole vibe, definitely, but never a racist vibe. I feel like he was just being an asshole to Maximus just to be an asshole. As most Brotherhood Knights are.
And the genius showrunners and Bethesda by extension thought it was a good idea to make the Brotherhood of Steel evil. Arguably the most marketable part of the Fallout universe, they made incredibly unlikable in this show. On the one hand,
that's another thing why I kind of disagree. I don't think they made the Brotherhood evil. I think they just made the Brotherhood. Like, I feel like the Brotherhood of Steel is, in my opinion, the most perfect interpretation of kind of like certain aspects of the military, like real life military. So I'm not saying the military is evil. I'm just saying like there's douchebags in the Brotherhood, as same as if there's kind of douchebags in the military. I guess that's a harsh way of saying it. Never mind. Can we scrap that one from public record, please? I like the. That's really bad, actually. No, but in my opinion, I wouldn't say they made the Brotherhood evil. I feel like they just made the Brotherhood a little more stricter. I mean, not to say that the Brotherhood, like, I feel like had its strictness in the original series, but they also had a form of like leadership. I feel so. I could say they probably made the Brotherhood a little more harsh, but I feel like same thing. I feel like it's just for character push for Maximus. So not a great thing, but I can let it slide
And
again.
it did subvert my expectations completely. On the other, it just feels like yet another way to shit on the Fallout universe. And before some people strawman me, I'm not saying the Brotherhood of Steel should be like Fallout 3 where they're all good guy knights or whatever. I'm completely fine with the Brotherhood being xenophobic isolationists who preserve technology. I think that's great. Unfortunately, they never do that in this show. No, instead, Titus is a mega pussy.
No, because that's not the main focus of the that's not the main focus though. The main focus is on Maximus. They were on an objective to pick up a relic, but Knight Titus, being the douche he is, decided to have a decided to have a detour because he wanted to shoot something, and in the end they found out that the scientist was there at the spot they were at, which I will say he actually should probably be looking more towards that, of the convenience of that, more than just the Brotherhood being douchebags, which is like, I don't know,
He
that's
gets
weird.
taken out by a fucking Yao Guai, a guy in T60 power armor, taken out by a bear. And because he was an asshole, Maximus decides not to save him and then steals his power armor and pretends to be him. This is
Are you not telling me you did the exact same thing in New Vegas? Come on, don't lie to me. Are you telling me you would not just stand there and watch freaking Deathclaws kill Brotherhood, then you steal their armor? Makes it like that easier.
I'm back, dude. Squecka?
Yeah, hey. So I'm live streaming right now. I'm reviewing I'm watching the review, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's really dumb so far.
Why does Spotify keep playing music without my permission? I came back and it's
What?
playing music.
I have no idea. All I know is his arguments are pretty lame.
No, they're so fucking bad.
by a
Because here's the
fucking-
thing, Shady Sands happened at Shady Sands' nuke happened after New Vegas. This is the end of the story. Like the Fallout TV show is the latest thing in the series.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the first one is Fallout 1 because their water filter broke. They had no other choice but to go out into the wasteland. And if you play Fallout 2, you can go visit the places in Fallout 1
Yeah.
and see how it progressed.
in Yao Guai, a guy in I think that's
Hold
great.
on, sir.
Unfortunately, they never do that in this show. No, instead, Titus is a mega pussy. He gets taken out by a fucking Yao Guai, a guy in
Come on.
T60 power armor.
Okay, I can see, but that shit's funny. It's a funny scene. I enjoyed it. It's not like he wasn't fighting back. Fuck. Like, it's not like Titus wasn't fighting back either. He threw a couple of punches. The only problem was, like, the bear went angry mode. So I guess. But the scene was funny. The scene was hilarious. I enjoyed it. You're not gonna stand there. Like, I understand from, like, I guess from, like, a super hardcore fanboy portion where it's like, oh, I hate that. I don't like that. They're not accurately representing the Brotherhood. But it's like, we also gotta know, like, Fallout also had a level of humor to it. So it's like the show has to have this level of humor where it's like it has to be lighthearted, but at the same time, it will show its harshness occasionally. So it's like that was more of a fucked up lightheartedness that I can truly sit back and say, yes, sir, thank you. Like,
They're actually
out by
called
a bear.
Yao Guais.
And because he was an
Remember
asshole,
correctly.
Maximus decides not to save him and then steals his power armor and pretends to be him. This is one of many moments where Maximus is borderline evil in this show.
I mean, like, I feel that's okay. I'll put it like this: Maximus did have bad moments, and we'll definitely probably get to that later in the episodes. But if your knight was straight threatening you right in your face, they're weak. By the way, no, they're weak, and they're threatening you straight up, saying that, oh yeah, we're gonna put you in the we're gonna put you to hanging, and we're gonna leave you out for the vultures. Are you not like? You're not. You're gonna easily help them. Like, oh yeah, here, let me help you so I can just ensure my own death. It's like,
I
no.
think it's more so going off the fact that it's like, the Brotherhood of Steel and I think the Enclave are generally dicks. I can see that. They just made his character so much of a dick, so unlikable that you agree with Maximus, even though Maximus is doing.
Yeah,
Pretty
I will agree. Like, that's the thing. He's not even targeting the fact that it's like he's targeting other stuff and not the fact that of the poor writing, but he's targeting more of like, oh, this character is bad. Like, this character is bad for this amount of reasons instead of like, no, the writing's bad for these reasons. He's like, he has a right mind. Like, he has the like a really close idea, but it falls flat because he's looking at a narrative that pushes towards his idea and not the idea of the show entirely. Like, no, I can agree with you. I think is that kind of lazy writing. Yeah, but he's not talking about the lazy writing. He's talking about the bad characters, and it's like the characters aren't bad; they're just fine. You're looking at the wrong areas, and it's all just for an idea, like an agenda for him. I don't know, not an agenda, but it's like an ideology for him. Like he wants to try
I
to.
guess it's okay because
It's so
the guy.
anti-agenda, it becomes an agenda.
Yeah, literally, it. Actually, no, I like that interpretation. It's so anti-agenda that it becomes agenda. Actually, yeah, I like that. Holy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, hero live long enough to become the villain.
it's like you're really gonna look at this show, and now I'm gonna use different, but let's look at two shows that I want to look at three shows that dropped. I want to look at two shows that Amazon. Actually, no, I want to look at all the shows that Amazon Prime
Race.
dropped. And I want you to say firsthand that actually no, we'll look at that later. But hold on,
Borderline
because I feel like we got to get more into the show to prove my point before we can actually do anything else.
evil in this show. But I guess it's okay because the guy was a racist and he looks white. I do want.
It's like.
But I guess it's okay because the guy was a racist and he looks white.
Okay, I'm gonna put back. I'm gonna keep the argument like this because he's probably gonna bring up the racist comments, the racism comments coming time. There's not been a single point in the show where I ever felt a racist to me. Okay, I'm gonna look towards Scrubs. Scrubs. At any moment, did you ever feel any form of racism towards a certain character in this show?
In the show or the game? Because
The
I guess it's
show.
weird.
Oh,
The
I know the
universe.
game. I know the game probably had a lot of racism, but the show, like, did the show at any moment did you ever feel there was any racist intent in the show?
I do not think so. No.
Exactly. I did not feel any form of racist intent with the show. I thought the show did just fine with just saying this
Here.
Knight Titus is just an asshole. He's just a dick just to be a
Yeah.
dick.
Back in the day, they were dicks. There's a clip that I'll send to you. Like, it's the most legendary power armor scene. You lost your power armor?
I do want to point
God,
out.
where-
Oh
is it?
yeah, there's straight up one where if you lose your power armor, I remember that's Fallout 2, right? Where he
That's hard.
legit there is a knight that yells at you for losing your power armor, and now you must fight in his core for 1,000 years to repay the debt.
What was it? Fucking Atomic for Peace dropped a very good animation of it.
All right, let's see it. Ads. I'm not here for ads.
Navarro. So you're the new replacement. You are out of uniform, soldier! Where is your power armor? Don't have any? You expect me to believe that, maggot? The truth is, you lost an expensive piece of Army issue equipment. That suit is going to come out of your pay, and you will remain in this man's army until you are 510 years old, which is the number of years it will take for you to pay for a Mark II powered combat armor
Oh,
you have lost. Now get out of my face and don't come back until you look like a soldier!
Yeah, see, you're not like
Dude, that guy is a drill sergeant. I've never heard a drill like that man in real life was 100% in the military. You
Like,
cannot tell me
yeah,
otherwise.
the Brotherhood was assholes. They had assholes in the Brotherhood. Like, there's no lie about that.
I think no, that was the Enclave. The Enclave and the
Was that the
Brotherhood of
Enclave?
Steel. basically it's really a weird fine line. I don't know anybody who really gets it. Like the Enclave are super xenophobic. They want to eliminate all the ghouls. They want to eliminate like
And that's what he actually brought up. That's
all
what
the
he brought.
mutants.
That's what he brought up in the thing where it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine with them being xenophobic. It's like, then what's the problem here? They're douchebags. That's like
That's
that.
the
You're legit. But like, no, but he's saying he's fine for both the Brotherhood and the Enclave to be like douchebags, and it's like, well, for them to be xenophobic and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, they're douchebags. You said you're okay with them being douchebags, but then like you're saying you don't want them to, which is like, I don't know, it's weird.
What kind of douchebag?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
He's not actually
What is your how are you douchebaggy wise?
technically white, but I don't want to go into
How are
that.
your
But of
douchebags?
course, the question is, how the hell did Titus
Pretty good.
become a knight in the first place if you earn the power armor through acts of bravery? He was a complete pussy. But no, they don't explain it. And
I don't know. I'm agree with you. Knight Titus is like a 6-year-old man if you kind of look at it. Yeah, he's like he has white hairs everywhere. So, you know, age can do something to a
speaking
motherfucker.
of not explaining it, Maximus doesn't explain what happened to Titus. No, he just pretends that he died, and now he pretends to be Titus for almost the rest of the entire show. And there's no consequences for this, by the way. At the end, somehow the Brotherhood conveniently forgets that he told them that he died and Titus lived. Oh, and this is not the only plot hole in this show. In the next scene, we're back to Lucy, and we get a scene straight out of Borderlands where some idiot is living out in the middle of nowhere with no resources, somehow surviving, and he drinks all of Lucy's water. Haha, so funny. She should stop trusting people, but she keeps doing it. Eventually, she heads
I mean,
over to the town of Philly that's actually located in a forest. I gotta say, this is one of the few things I kind of liked about the show. There's a settlement that isn't out in the middle of a wasteland with no resources like Megaton. And yes, there absolutely would be forests. Not only has it been well over 200 years, which is more than enough time
Pause
for the
it.
radiation to be
He purposely said Megaton because that's Bethesda's game, Fallout 3. Motherfucker. Alright, listen. New Vegas is literally set in a desert. Do you think like Novak has any resources around it? I'm gonna be honest, New Vegas in itself doesn't have a lot of resources around it. It's in a fucking desert.
yeah.
So it's like a level of obviously there's traders, obviously there's places that make it work, and it's just a place that's the interconnection between a whole bunch of people. I kind of get it. He's going really logistically because at the end of the day, you kind of have to, especially.
Well, at the same time, you also gotta
It gives
remember
a shit
it's
about
it's
the
it's a
original
universe.
story.
It's a universe where the year 2077 still follows like 50s culture. So like I don't know. At the same time, it's like I can see how he's gonna take this more literal, but you also gotta keep your mind a little bit out of reality. This is what I mean by like fantasy and reality needs to go one in one, hand by hand. Me and Scrubs had a conversation about that a while back. But like you gotta also acknowledge that this is a fantasy story. Not everything's gonna be legitimate. You know, sometimes people can go AWOL on a couple of things, and I feel the show did it right. My opinion, at least.
Agreed.
gone. But also, it's not like every inch of the country was hit with nukes. So this actually makes a lot of sense. I kind of like this. Now, something I really, really don't like is that Lucy comes across
please
this
tell us
shop
what you
called
don't like.
Ma's Rarities, and this old woman here explains to us that vault dwellers represent rich people and surface dwellers represent poor
Jesus.
people. Again, this once again proves fans of the show haven't actually played the
Okay, I really don't know, like, because obviously the vaults was kind of like a thing where it was testing. It was just a bunch of testing, and honestly, in my opinion of it, it was just one person's interpretation of the vaults. Some random old lady, and I don't hate the old lady. I thought the lady was perfect. So I can easily shun an eye towards, oh yeah, it's only for rich folk. Rich folk only did that. No, fuck the
Because here's
rich.
the thing, he's trusting that what everybody is saying is 100% accurate, right? Like, look at Mindhunters, for instance. You can't trust what people say. They're speaking their truth, but that doesn't mean it's
Truth.
Yes, I wish there was a better way of putting it. A collective truth, you could say, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I could see this guy's upset about it, like, oh, it's just another comment on fucking eating the rich, but it's like eat the rich, fuck the rich, and all stuff like that. But it's like it's an interpretation of what the vaults are, because the vaults I feel had multiple interpretations. Like if you look at Lucy's idea of the vaults, it was a concept to protect people so they can fix America. Another person's idea of the vault is it's a bunch of testing. It's just test subjects. Like everyone had their own opinions on the vaults, and that's just another opinion on it. And true is an opinion that obviously is thrown out there for no reason. Yeah, whatever. But nonetheless, it's still an opinion. You can take it any way you want to. And honestly, I didn't take it that literal. And honestly, I completely forgot. No, if I remember correctly, in Fallout 4, wasn't it like middle class citizens entering the vaults too? It's been a long time since I played 4, but I remember, wasn't it a lot of middle class citizens entering vaults? Or was it rich?
Yeah, it was just a whole neighborhood that was basically
yeah, that was evacuating. Yeah, no, so I will say that comment is a bit out of pocket.
Especially because that's Fallout 4. He's going to make criticisms that this is basically based off of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, right? And that New Vegas and Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 are the best, and that anything that strays away from that is inherently bad. Without actually giving the show by itself, like, it's just weird.
I'm gonna say it myself. As a I'm a little bit right leaning, not fully right leaning, but I have right leaning ideologies. So so obviously it's not like they did like Republicans are like rich and also like that. And honestly, I don't really care if you're rich or poor. I really don't. It's like, oh, I mean, like if you're poor, I'll definitely give you like if you're like homeless on the streets, I'll definitely give you $1. I mean, will you likely spend it on cigarettes? Absolutely. But whatever, as long as I supported our local homeless men. But it's like if you're rich, it's like, should we tax you more? I don't know. I don't care. I don't get into those type of politics because I know so little about finance and shit like that I could give less of a fuck. But it's literally a thing where it's like I feel like it was just some old ladies just gruntle, hateful opinion on the vaults, and that's how I'm gonna take it, because she is a hateful lady. If you look at it, she fucking hates just people throughout the entirety of the show.
Vault dwellers represent rich people, and surface dwellers represent poor people. Again, this once again proves fans of the show haven't actually played the fucking games. Either that, or they just conveniently ignore obvious propaganda right in their fucking face. No.
I mean, actually, that's okay. You kind of got me there. Yeah, we're just kind of ignoring that because we don't give. Well, actually, no. We actually gave a reason. I feel like I gave a reasonable response to that.
Vault dwellers represent a time capsule of the 50s retro future culture. That's why they're all.
Well, that's wrong too. Like, see, that's your interpretation of the vaults. My interpretation, it's a bunch of testing. It's test subjects. It's like the idea of like what human behavior is like under these circumstances. Every vault was like that.
Also naive and friendly and neighborly, and they have to learn to survive
Wait,
in this
repeat that one more time?
inhospitable and in their fucking face.
Wait, what you just said though?
Well, my interpretation of the vaults, because his interpretation was like, oh, it's just meant to be a 50s like culture type thing. It was like, well, see, now you're seeing your interpretation of the vaults. Everyone has their own interpretation of the vaults very differently. Mine is it was a place of just human testing, where it was how a human can be put inside these different like lifestyles, like these different situations, these different social interactions, cultures, all that stuff, and how they will adapt to that lifestyle or how they will change from that lifestyle. That's how I always interpreted the vaults.
Okay. Like, for me, you were never given a complete answer. So the fact this show kind of did annoyed me a little bit, because it's like you shouldn't be able to see the information they gave you. That's the one thing I was pissed about.
Let's see if he brings it up. That's what I'm interested. Let's keep that in mind. Let's see if he actually brings it up.
Capsule of the 50s retro future culture. That's why they're all so naive and friendly and
No,
neighborly.
see, that's your
and
interpretation
they
of
have
vaults.
to learn to survive in this
all I'm saying, man.
inhospitable environment where everything's trying to kill you. Never at any point in any of the games is it implied that vault dwellers are rich people. The only vaults that maybe come close to that are the control vaults, and yes, it's set up that Vault 33 is a control vault, but it's not in reality. We'll get to that plot twist when
Oh,
it comes.
sneeze.
The vast majority of vaults had
Ugh.
horrific science
I'm allergic to
experiments take
retardation.
place in them. I wouldn't exactly call that a haven for the rich. So of course the lady doesn't help her, but conveniently the Enclave scientist caught up with her, and he reveals that he knows all about Vault 33, and of course it turns out that he's the guy that she's looking for to find a way to get to her father. Of course, the ghoul shows up.
The
and we
ghoul.
get half
Oh,
of
what was
Because
it?
that's how quest lines work. This is supposed to be representing the game. I thought that did it well. That at the end of the day, it's not realistic because the game is kind of set out a certain way.
There's nothing more.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get it. I gotta get it. Where is it? Is it here? Is that it? God, it's so good.
of a it
Yeah, so
turns
what'd you say?
out that he's the guy that she's looking for to find a way to get to her father. Of course, the ghoul shows up. and we get half of a pretty cool action scene where we get to see Walton Goggins blow away a bunch of mercs. And actually, yeah, it's pretty cool. He's got some kind of shotgun firing, I guess, armor-piercing sabot rounds. And no, I'm not going to nitpick that. It's Fallout. Obviously, the guns aren't realistic, and Bethesda...
Oh my God, you're not gonna like bitch about how like that's like not following like physics or anything like that? I'm actually surprised.
proven time and time again. They know nothing about guns, but it looks pretty cool, I'll say that. One thing that does kind of bother me about this scene is that for some
tell
reason,
us.
ghouls are now basically immortal zombies. If you don't shoot them in the head, they don't die. That is a pretty big retcon, and don't try to tell me it isn't one, because it's never been established that you have to shoot them in the head. Even if you don't think gameplay is canon, which I think is just absurd, but we're not going to get into that. This is clearly a
Honestly,
How
I don't-
can you say the guns don't matter? He's so contradictory with certain arguments. Like, I get with the guns being cool, but then how can you disagree with other factors that were cool, but it disagreed with the overall lore, or... I don't know.
Honestly, I was just gonna say that
He's
how
just
like I don't
nitpicking
really.
certain things.
I feel like well the show did nothing but nitpicks. Like he's trying to nitpick a cool scene. Like this scene was fucking cool. I'm not gonna I'm gonna ignore the fact that the ghoul is basically unkillable, even though they're not.
Also, in the chaos, the ghoul stabs dog meat, and yes, I'll be calling the dog meat because Walton Goggins himself.
No, dog meat. You're not gonna bitch about like, oh, they killed a dog. This is like anti-dog. There's like a, I don't know.
Calls the
I'm kind of just thinking in his mindset
dog
right now.
meat near the end of the show, so might as well be. But don't worry, the dog doesn't die. Now this is where the
Woohoo!
episode goes to shit again. Lucy
No.
gives this grand speech, which is pretty cringe. Shoots the ghoul.
What? This guy, it's crazy. The scene was cringe. I hated it. It's like, yeah, that was the idea. It wasn't meant to be like a cool, like heroic moment. It was literally meant to be cringe. Legit, the old lady straight up says that she hates vault dwellers because of how fucking cringy that was. It made it funnier. That's why it was funny, because it was like, it was cringe on
Lucy
purpose
gives
to
this
be
grand
funny.
speech, which is pretty cringe. Shoots
Yes, that was the idea.
ghoul with the tranq dart. We get an admittedly pretty good line.
Well, now that is a very small drop in a very, very large bucket of drugs.
Gangster.
And then Maximus shows up to save the day, and they fucking turned power armor into Iron Man armor. It looks so stupid. And if you think this looks bad, just watch this, guy.
You think this looks bad? You should see the second game's
The rest
adaptation
of
of
my
Power
video.
Armor. Like, bro, I don't want to hear the Power Armor sucks. Like, bro, I'm agree with you. This Power Armor looks hideous.
That's
Look at
the
that.
Enclave.
I don't care. Look at any of that. Okay, well, Fallout 4 looks somewhat cool. But look at freaking New Vegas. That looks kind of Look at 2s. What am I looking at on number 2s? 2. What am I looking at on 2? But you want to know what? I'm not gonna get upset about it because that's just an interpretation of
The
his
fact
suit.
that people gave a shit about 2 when it still had the pixels like that has to be commended, though. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
The fact
Hey,
that you
no,
can
the
look
suits-
at that and be crying.
I'm not
because
wrong.
of
The
its
suits
story.
look cool. Like these are all cool, but I'm just saying it's like you're getting mad about these suits, even though those look even cooler. When these suits, you know, they kind of have their own kind of like ugliness too, but I can accept them for the time
Type
that
in
they were.
T51 power armor. Just type. Yeah. There you go.
Gangster.
Now look at it from the original game, Fallout 1.
Oh, from
Yeah, Fallout 1 or 2.
I'm not sure if they're called the T51s. I don't know.
Pretty damn accurate.
I like them. They
I
look
don't know what he's on. Like, because I'm gonna be honest, the power armor looks damn near the same. It almost looks more usable. In the game, it doesn't look like that thing could move the way that it
Very
does
large
move.
bucket of drugs.
Bethesda
And then
made
Maximus
it work.
shows up
and
to
it just
save the
worked.
day, and they
And it
fucking
just
turned
works.
power armor into Iron Man armor. It looks so stupid. And if you think this looks
Hey, if
bad,
Interplay kept
just
their
watch
fucking
this,
game right,
guys.
we would have gotten that Fallout. But we didn't. We got Bethesda's Fallout. And people are pissed about it because it's not Interplay Fallout.
that's pretty goofy.
Come on, that's something straight out of a Bollywood film. Not to mention Maximus.
Hey,
is an
don't
idiot.
dog on
Why
Bollywood
doesn't he
films.
have
They're
a
the last.
gun?
They're the last
He
line.
had a gun.
They're the last line of filmmaking.
In a previous scene, it
Agreed.
didn't break.
God bless,
In the
brother.
midst of this really shitty Marvel movie fight, the old lady grinds this metal boot onto the Enclave dude's leg, which just
And it
feels
was horrifically disgusting, and I love it because it makes me feel bad about myself.
like straight shock value because it doesn't even
God-
save him,
God
by
bless.
the way. And then the ghoul shows up in the room, gives Dog Meat a stim pack,
Wait,
and
what's
now
that
all of a
music in the
sudden they're
background?
buddies. And of course, you because it doesn't even save him, by the way. And then the ghoul shows up in the room, gives Dog
music.
Meat a stim pack, and now
Music
all of a
now.
sudden they're buddies. And of course, he uses Dog Meat to track down the Enclave guy. The episode ends back in the middle of the desert again. The Enclave dude is starting to bleed out, and so he tells Lucy to chop off his head because
Yes.
the thing they need is in his head. Again, this is done purely for shock value and is
But it's good. It's good, and it leads up to funnier scenes. And
Here's the difference.
you're so-
Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 and New Vegas were they were fun. Like, New Vegas is the caveat, or the difference, because New Vegas, this does it right. It's the blend of realism and, like, humor, like, absurdity. There's a lot of absurdity in the Fallout universe that should not exist there, that you just look at and you're like, what the hell? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
This guy's a big
But-
dub. So he's talking about it's like shock humor, but I feel like it's just nitpicking. That's like a clear side of nitpicking. I don't like it. In my opinion, I don't think it's shock humor. I think it leads up to a pretty funny scene, especially since if you look at a character that Lucy is, she's not fit to do that. So the fact that she kind of has to makes it kind of funnier.
idiocy. The thing in
Or
his
actually,
neck
that's what makes it funny to begin with.
does not need to be in his head to work. So they carry around a fucking rotting head for the entire season.
Are you gonna tell me that's not a Fallout sounding thing? Like that's not a thing that would happen in Fallout?
Nobody thinks to dig the chip out of his neck. Dude, they turned Fallout into Borderlands. You're gonna see that more and more throughout this show. This is straight up fucking Borderlands cringe, unfunny garbage. And that's episode 2.
I think that's the worst take he's had so far. What the fuck? You're not even gonna bring up Plan D? Dude, Plan D was freaking hilarious. Oh, dude. Nitpicking.
2. I give it a 3 out of 10. The only reason it isn't even lower than that is because Walton Goggins is pretty entertaining as the ghoul, and honestly, he only gets better from here. Everything else about this episode was awful. I feel like if you have any standards for television at all, you would have stopped watching this show after this episode. It was
No, sir. I'm gonna watch the whole thing and I'm gonna enjoy. Honestly, actually, I think that's disgraceful. Like, actually, that kind of upsets me. Like, don't you dare say that my standards for filmmaking is lower because I watched something that I genuinely thought was good. Okay, actually, I'm a bit of a hypocrite for saying that. But beyond that, we have something that rose the standard for filmmaking, and you're saying that that's a bad thing. So that's a bit of a douche move. Now, if you watch stuff like Hazbin Hotel, then kill yourself. But beyond then, I think we're good.
that bad. Now on to episode 3. It begins
Bangin'.
with a flashback before the war, as we see more of the life of Cooper Howard before he became the ghoul. It turns out he was
He was the
fact,
ghoul?
an
No, I'm joking.
actor for westerns, and his wife is an executive at Vault Tech. It's good to see, even in the alternate future of the Fallout universe, we still have diversity hires in the highest position of power. Back in the
It's astonishing. Dude.
It's diversity hire, guys. It's just diversity hire. Okay, look.
I'm buying Sifu. I don't know why I'm buying Sifu, but I'm getting Sifu
Get some seafood, bro.
because I'm bad at the game.
Dude, but the problem is she's good at her job, though. She's good at her job. Like, I have a feeling this guy didn't watch the rest. Did freaking Synthetic Man watch this entire show? Actually, I have a feeling he just watched clips. I don't know. I don't know where
did.
I don't know where he got diversity hire from. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this: if the critical drinker gives this a really positive review, and you're giving it a really bad one, there's something there has to be said. I'm with you. I think Critical Drinker is a great review channel, but he's really cynical when it comes to reviewing stuff as well. Like, he's super cynical. So if you are more cynical than the drinker, I'm with you, bro. There's no hope.
present, we see that the ghoul
Get outta
has come
here.
across the corpse of the Enclave scientist, and we get yet another huge retcon. Ghouls now have to take a special serum to avoid going feral. In the original game, the reason why ghouls were hated, or at least were outcast from society, is because they were ticking time bombs. They could go feral at any moment. I can't remember if it's ever quite confirmed, but it's definitely suspected that extended exposure to radiation eventually rots their brain completely and they go feral. But no, now in the show, there's a special serum that they have to take periodically to avoid going feral. I know there's gonna be some idiot that's gonna say that this is not a retcon, but there were plenty of ghouls.
All right, I'll do you one better. I like this retcon. Obviously,
Maybe, like, for me, I always thought it as something that they invented at some point. Because in Fallout 1, I don't know remember if it's Fallout 1 or 2, you meet the kid who invents Jet. He's just a super genius who invents this, like, uses an asthma inhaler and fills it with, like, I forget what it, like,
straight
I don't
jet
think- I don't
full
remember
vodka. It's like a mix of straight
know.
vodka, like all different types of vodka, different types of like alcohol, and thus we have jet fuel.
Yeah.
You're just taking straight fucking like 112% alcohol in your bloodstream. Like, it doesn't even have time to process and turn it into blood. It's just straight vodka. It's kind of like the same thing with like Charlie Sheen, whereas like where people like there's the theory that there's still some blood left in Charlie Sheen's cocaine veins.
Ghouls that
Maybe?
survived
I don't
over
know.
200
You're
years.
pushing
Okay.
it there.
What is it that
Maybe.
happened in the past 15 after New Vegas that ghouls now all of a sudden have to take a serum? No, this is a fucking retcon after a pointless scene with Lucy. with
Yeah,
the-
but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a nice touch. No, that it gives the ghoul motive at least. Like, I don't think the ghoul would be doing what he's doing just cause. I feel like that adds motive to the character.
back to Maximus, and this is the scene I mentioned last episode where he lies to the Brotherhood pretending to be Titus and says that Maximus died. Again, there's no consequences for this. It never comes up again. After a borderline pointless scene where he has to sell one of his teeth to afford repairing a part, a bunch of raiders tried to steal his power armor.
Well, like thugs,
and
raiders
he
only
gets
show
his
up twice
ass
in this-
beat
eh,
again
whatever.
because he lost his gun off screen. He does manage to beat up most of them, including crushing one of their heads with the power armor. And then the Brotherhood of Steel arrives, giving him a new squire. And of course, it's one of the guys who beat him up in the first scene he shows up. And so Maximus, being one of our main protagonists, a hero we can all look up to, nearly crushes his fucking head. Dude, I couldn't believe this. Is he supposed to be a villain? Man, you can tell these guys got beat up in high school and this is their revenge fantasy because Maximus continues the cycle of bullying.
Oh my god, he just said what I was about to say. No more. Enough said.
Doing exactly what Titus did to him. When we get back to Lucy, I
Damn,
now
that's like character or something. I think Connor, CJ, Scrubs, whatever your name is, Fred James. We got our boy Fred
Yes.
James. I'm real with you. I think that's like character or something like that. I think that's what they call it in the film industry. Oh, it's weird. I don't like it. I hate it.
realizing I
Honestly, me
neglected to
too.
mention what she's actually
Hate
doing.
it.
She's trying to deliver the head to the raider chick Moldaver, whose real identity is really stupid.
Moldaver.
Get to that at the end. Anyway, she comes across a lake and is attacked by a gulper, which you may remember from the Far Harbor DLC for Fallout 4. Now, they looked completely different in that. Now they're giant pink salamanders with fingers in their mouth.
They're axolotls. Excuse me. I'm disappointed in you.
Mouths for some reason. This makes him
That
seem
was a
more
nice
like
touch.
an FEV mutant. Why the hell would radiation make you grow human fingers in your mouth? Whatever. Anyway, it eats the head. Of course, the ghoul catches up with her and decides to use her as bait while he monologues about how ineffective torture is. This is probably the scene where I ended up liking this guy because he's definitely a villain. I don't know if they were attempting to write an anti-hero, but he's definitely not.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea of the ghoul. He's kind of an anti-hero. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm not.
He's a villain, but he's a good villain. Walton Goggins is a great actor, and I think they were trying to go for a New Vegas vibe with the cowboy thing, but to me, it honestly feels more like a character straight out of the New Vegas Bounties mods developed by Some Guy 2000, and those are all great if you haven't played them. Despite being some of the oldest mods for New Vegas, they're still probably the best. Back at Vault 33, we get our third concurrent plot throughout the season, the mystery behind this triple vault system. I gotta say, it was actually pretty intriguing. For a while, this was my favorite part of the show, and the reason I kept watching. Big Schnoz actually turns out to be a pretty good character. Unfortunately, they really ruined
Rico!
it at the end, so I'm not going to cover it episode by episode. We'll talk about the whole side plot when it wraps up at the end.
Honestly, I'm happy you did like the side plot though, because I thought the side plot was pretty good too. Actually, I got you. I really wish they pushed it another episode just so we can have more time on the side plot. I feel like we didn't get enough time on the side plot.
I honestly agree.
Being dedicated to Maximus just abusing his bully, we get another subtle retcon. The bully implies that the Brotherhood of Steel is going to wipe out ghouls from existence. Did the writers confuse the Brotherhood with the Enclave? Killing ghouls has never been an objective of
agree
the
with
Brotherhood.
that.
Where the hell did this come from? And don't even tell me he pulled this out his ass just because he's supposed to be a racist. Though, actually, knowing these writers, maybe that is exactly what they're implying.
Jesus Christ. Stop bringing up race. It's not real.
But anyway, back to the ghoul and Lucy. The gulper eventually takes bite, nearly voring Lucy, but of course
Yummers.
it gets away, and this is where another major plot hole happens. The ghoul says gulpers digest slowly. He then makes a joke about side quests.
Wasteland's got its own golden receiver.
Whoa. You're gonna bring up Vor, but you're not gonna bring up the foot scene. I'm disappointed.
Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time.
Ooh, wow, haha, so meta.
Shut the fuck. That was funny as fuck. Dude, I'm with you. I'm genuinely starting to actually get like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it.
You're gonna make a video on
Wes.
fucking synthetic.
Flynn's got
Dude, let's make a video on the rise and fall of the synthetic man. I think he deserves it.
I'm
He
al-
doesn't
I'm
have
I'm
to
already
do-
live
he did
streaming
have
right
to
now
do
on the whole
views.
fucking. I'm already live streaming the whole fucking thing. I'm already having my review right now. That's what I'm saying. Is like we're doing it right here. It's so.
Dude, I used to watch him a lot. That's actually like genuinely, I get where he's coming from on certain aspects, but he's just.
But he's
like,
wrong.
dude,
He's just wrong.
it's not Interplay's fucking Fallout anymore. Interplay went out of business and they had to sell the rights. It fucking sucks, right? We would have probably gotten an Interstellar fucking Fallout series by now if we went with the original series. But that's not what Bethesda's trying to do. And it is what it is. For me, it's just genuinely looking at the series, being like, wow, they did the things I love genuinely well. They made it feel like a Fallout story, right? A lot of absurdity, some realism, some clues, some answers, but beyond all that, far more questions. You know? Like,
All
It's
no, is he
just-
better not
I
be.
don't
He
know.
better not be dogging on episode 8. The episode 8 was so good.
Oh, what's that?
Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time.
I feel like that's how Synthetic is taking this video. Thou shalt be sidetracked by bullshit. It's like thou shalt be sidetracked by his own bullshit. There we go. Synthetic. That's one for you, pal. You're welcome.
Wow, haha, so meta. And then he leaves to go sell Lucy's organs. I'm not making this up. That is the sequence of events. I seriously have to ask at this point, if you're a
yeah,
real
you can also
human
sell
and you
people
like
into
this show,
slavery.
did you get high before watching? Were you drinking? Did you get vaxxed 3 or 4 times? How the hell?
Jesus. Now you're saying I'm a liberal because I enjoyed this show? Did you get vaccinated? Did you get vaccinated? Because you like this show
What
because
was
you
the
got
reason-
vaccinated.
What was the fucking reason?
Watch ask at this point. I'm not making this up. That is the sequence of events.
Oh, to
I
sell her
seriously have
fucking
to
organ.
ask at this point,
Yeah,
if you're a
it's
real
like,
human
bro,
and you like this
so
show,
fucking
did
dumb.
you get high before watching? Were you drinking? Did you get vaxxed 3 or 4?
Don't
Imagine
smoke.
dogging on your fucking audience.
Don't smoke. Don't drink. And I'm not a Democrat. So I feel like I feel like at this point that's the best way we can kind of interpret the whole thing, where it's like you're just so upset by something that exists but not in the way you're looking at it. Like I see why you're upset with this certain thing, but the problem is you're latching it on to something that doesn't even have it to begin with. So, and now all of a sudden you're just upset about something that you don't need to be upset about, and now you're attacking people who are
Well-
obviously fairly disagreeing with you. Like we can believe the bot. We could believe the bot argument only one. There probably was bots there too. There's always bots. But at the same time, you had a fair amount of normal people disagreeing with you and did a pretty decent job at disagreeing with you.
4 times? How the hell could you like this show? So back
And he
to
just
Maximus
clowns
and
on
the
him.
Squire. We get an
Yeah, that you
incredibly
clowned on your own
awkward
audience
scene
too.
where Maximus gets the Squire to explain why he bullied him. But obviously, since he's still pretending to be Titus, he does it by trying to get him to say something horrible about him, and this somehow leads him to explaining that the only reason he bullied Maximus is because he himself was bullied until he showed up, and so he just redirected the bullying to Maximus.
My God, character development. It hurts.
And so it's supposed to be this big, like, oh, see, this guy's not so bad. And so then Maximus starts treating him better. Unfortunately, this goes in a really stupid direction
Character development. It hurts my brain. It hurts my brain to care. Ugh. Okay.
later, but I actually kind of like this scene. It felt much more mature than the rest of this show, but it was handled somewhat poorly. Oh, and I
Oh,
know I
fuck off.
said I wasn't going to bring up the Vault 33 subplot, but I do want to point out that a black guy who I guess is an engineer says that the water chip is broken and they never bring it up again. So that
They
is just
actually
a
do.
completely
That's
pointless
wrong.
reference
They
to Fallout
pause
1,
it.
which is fun.
If you actually watched it, when they go to vote, Remember the whole voting sequence in
Yeah.
episode 5 for Betty, right?
Yeah.
They literally bring up the fact that one of the reasons they're voting for Betty is because they're terrified to be creative with a more open-minded person. They want somebody who actually understands the situation, hence the whole management role. That actually fits fucking extremely well. Like, I don't know what he's on about that. That shit's dumb.
Because he's not. He's looking at it from a certain narrative. We already understand this. Anything he says at this point out is just because of a certain narrative that he believes exists but doesn't exist. In the end, creating his own narrative. Ironically enough.
Funny because if you've played Fallout 1, you know that this show completely shits all over the story with all of the retcons. You want me to name another big one? The Master, the villain of the original game who was turning people into super mutants, was finding those people from vaults, and his headquarters was located near the Boneyard. It would have been in spitting distance of Vault 33. You're telling me that he never found this vault that was out in the open? He never managed to get inside and mutate all those people into super mutants. Speaking of super mutants, there are none in this show. The West Coast canonically has intelligent super mutants unless they all got killed by the Brotherhood of the Enclave or something. But no, they are never mentioned in this show. One of
Valid fucking point. I will agree with him on that.
All right, we got
Given
one.
the state of one, the Master probably would have ended up showing up. And B, genuinely, where are the fucking super mutants? Because there are a lot. Genuinely, they may have been killed off. There's a lot of shit that kills off super mutants, and I'm not genuinely that. I need to look up how long between New Vegas and this.
15 years.
15, only 15 years?
Yeah.
I don't know how they would have killed off all the super mutants by that point.
All right. Well, okay. So he has.
They genuinely might be in. They might be in hiding.
He has
Super
2 points right
mutants
now.
are hyper-intelligent.
All right, hold on. We're gonna write it down. We're gonna write it down in a doc.
But here's the thing. He's saying this as it's not something they're going to bring up in another fucking season.
Synthetic has right now 2 points. Rest of
Does he not assume that there are probably the super mutants are probably genuinely hiding?
Rest of the geniuses. There we go. All right. So right now, Synthetic has 2. The rest of the geniuses, much more. Oh, by the way, we're also gonna add 1T bold. All right, there you go.
the most iconic things in the Fallout franchise isn't in the Fallout TV show. Okay, enough tangents. Let's wrap up this episode. Eventually, Maximus catches
The entire
up
thing
to
was
the
tangent.
head. He saves his squire from being devoured alive, yanks out its guts, and now they have the head. And for the final scene, it cuts back to the ghoul and Lucy, and to just spit in my face in particular, and all the shills who fucking lied in my first review. The ghoul drinks water directly in front of Lucy. And you know what's funny? In a later episode, he eats food too. Ghouls need water to survive. This has been established multiple times in the series, and it's now established in the show, and yet he was buried underground for years with no water or food. Explain it, Shills. Explain it. And for the final
I
scene
remember that being
of the episode, we're back in the past again, and we see that Cooper inspired the Vault Boy. Yes, even though the Vault Boy has blonde hair. No, it was Walton Goggins' character.
Okay. When I watched the show, I talked about this. I really wish they did give Walton Goggins a little bit of dirt blonde, just so they could make it somewhat work. And that did upset me. That did kind of like let me go, oh, that was a missed opportunity. But nonetheless, I thought it was great. I loved it. Nothing to really bitch about here.
Character throwing up a thumb to the Fallout lore. Alright, episode 3 gets a 4 out of 10. It was definitely better than the last one. I suppose if you turned off your brain completely and just
every
care
time he says something retarded, we're just gonna respond with an average fuck you and pray that YouTube doesn't take this stream down.
the Fallout lore at all,
I
it's
will, but
kind of watchable, but it certainly isn't
He's a
good
prick.
by any metric. On to episode 4. This
Fuck
one
over
is
1,000
supposed to be
caps.
all about Lucy
I can barely
losing her
412.
innocence and seeing how horrific the wasteland is. It starts off with the ghoul taking her to some other ghoul guy who's about to turn feral, and I'm just gonna call him Cooper for the rest of the show. The ghoul is such a stupid
Fuck
fucking
you.
name. Cooper shoots him before
No,
he
fuck
goes
you.
feral and then starts eating him. He's not even feral, yet he'll fucking eat other ghouls. What the hell? But I guess I finally figured out why Zoomers like this show. He eats ass.
Come on, Volty. Ass jerky don't make itself.
In the next scene, we see
Same thing. That show's funny.
Lucy has gotten
Also,
so
there was never confirmation that she cut his ass.
thirsty that she's willing to drink irradiated water. And conveniently, Cooper starts to turn feral because he ran out of serum, I guess. So Lucy makes a run for it. But he catches her with his lasso, but then she ends up biting his finger off. And so to get even, he slices one of her fingers off, and she barely even reacts, dude. What is this terrible acting? And you guys say she's not a Mary Sue. Oh, and once again, I want to briefly talk
Well, I wish you showed me the lack of acting because if I remember correctly, she did a pretty decent job of her finger being sliced off.
Yeah,
about
he
Vault
muted
33
the dialogue.
because
I'm pretty
Sweet
sure
Home
she gave,
Alabama ends up hooking up with the blonde
A,
This
chick
is-
she probably
after
has
her husband
fucking
died, and
adrenaline
she-
rush. She's dehydrated as fuck, but she still gave out like noise, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to rewatch.
Yeah, you're not. That's the thing. We have to show and tell us. Like you can't just be like, by the way, she didn't react. Shows a lack of it.
she's pregnant with his child.
She did.
And she ends up giving birth, and Alabama raises another man's child. Now I know why Redditors like this show. But before I start saying stuff that's gonna get me banned, let's get back to Lucy and
Character development. It hurts my brain.
Cooper. He ends up delivering her to a super duper mart that functions as a organ harvesting clinic. As soon as she gets inside, he passes out. I guess that's part of the process of becoming feral now. And she ends up meeting a Mr. Handy, and she acts like she's never seen one before. I mean, I can understand her vault not having any of them, but really? She knows about power armor. Whatever. We get another kind of stupid
Maybe Mr.
scene
Handy's
where
weren't as
Mr.
important
Handy
in this
sews a rotting finger that was just sitting in a drawer for who knows how long, not frozen, onto her hand.
It is a Fallout universe. Just go with it.
It just works.
It just works.
This-
And it
It's Todd Howard.
just works.
It's-
Then the
Okay, that was actually
Yeah.
really good.
was a rotting
Congratulations, you agree with
finger
us.
that was just sitting in a drawer for who knows how long, not frozen, onto her hand, and it just works. Then the Mr. Handy
I agree.
rolls her
Fucking
out to the
hilarious.
two owners of this legitimate business, and they're straight out of Idiocracy. There's no guards here.
That's probably because the actors were from Idiocracy.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the guy on the left was from Idiocracy.
From Idiocracy, yeah.
By the way, either.
Yeah.
These guys own like more than a dozen slaves, yet they couldn't afford any raider guards or mercs or anything.
It's the same thing. It's creative. It's funny. I like it. It adds to the universe. You're looking so much into something that doesn't need to be so much looked at. And honestly, it's kind of tragic. Like, honestly, I feel bad for Synthetic, though. Like, I really do. I really wish he just sat down and enjoyed a decent show. You know, keep his mind off the bad stuff on Amazon Prime and just look at some good. But, you know, some people, they don't get that experience. I really do.
To that effect.
It sucks.
Paradise Falls from Fallout 3 had to have at least 20 slavers in there who were fully armed and competent. But, you know, in the Fallout TV show, it's just two retards and their robot.
Oh,
Because, you know, no one
Robin
would
Hood
be
R, we
smart enough
see.
to try and actually raid a place full of supplies. No. Especially not after the NCR collapsed. There definitely wouldn't be raiders trying to get supplies. No. Oh, and it gets even dumber. When the Mr. Handy takes her to the surgery room, it doesn't sedate her, and she just kicks its fucking arm? A 90-pound woman kicked a robot's arm and then just rolled off of the bed.
I don't think she...
Then she uses a defibrillator to shock the thing. Anyway, she rolls out the Mr. Handy to the two idiots, they make a joke about her holding a air conditioner hostage. While they don't draw
That's
their
funny.
guns, because she's clearly no threat to them, she reveals that she filled its hose with a Braxo cleaner, which is basically just supposed to be bleach, but the show acts like it's hydrochloric acid. Either way, she gets them to release all of the slaves, including feral ghouls, which, why the hell do they have feral ghouls as slaves? Don't even try to tell me that ghoul organs are good for something. And obviously you can't use feral ghouls for any slave labor. This doesn't make any sense. Did anyone watching this show use their brain at any moment? Whatever, the ghouls and the idiots manage to take each other out, except for one woman who's barely holding it together. Of course, she ends up going feral, and Lucy has to pick up the 10mm pistol from Fallout. Make sure to get your replica in the Bethesda store. You know, it's
Oh hell yeah! As long as it's under $200.
funny. There was a bot that actually tried to say this show was made with love because they made a replica 10mm pistol from Fallout 4. This isn't even the original design for the 10mm pistol. No, this is the Fallout 4 redesign. In fact, all of the iconic Fallout weapons are the Fallout 4 designs. And look, I realize this is completely subjective and up to personal taste, but I just think the Fallout 4 gun designs are ugly. So as we just saw Lucy, who's
Someone tells me this guy's a. I'm right there. Actually, someone tells me I think Synthetics is a New Vegas fuckboy.
What?
He's a New Vegas fuckboy. He played just New Vegas and instantly he already knows everything about the game, so he must it dictates.
He might have played the shape. He might have played Fallout 1, Fallout 2.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know how.
All I know is there's two in the community right now. There's two. There's Fallout 4 fans who just enjoy Fallout 4, and there's the New Vegas fans who are all like, Fallout 4 sucks. So it's like, and they go like feral.
Yeah. I thought Fallout 3 was better than Fallout 4. Fallout 4 had
think
a lot
I think
cooler,
everyone does.
newer options.
I think any
I played
normal sane person would say that. Yeah.
I played it on a shitty computer as well. So genuinely, I was more focused on the story aspect of things rather than the gameplay aspect.
What was that one New Vegas
That might be
meme?
interesting.
What was that one Fallout New Vegas meme where it's like a Trump supporter, a Nazi, a communist, and a tranny all in one room. And they dictate, and that dictates the entire New Vegas community. Oh my god, it was funny. I gotta
was
find it.
totally not a Mary Sue girl boss. Single-handedly took out this organ
I'm annoyed.
harvesting operation and then gives
Look, I get annoyed at the girl bosses. Biggest sexist in the room right here. Actually, that's wrong. I'm not a sexist. I am a true woman lover. You want to know why I'm not a sexist? Because sexism is wrong, and being wrong is for women. Checkmate, Republicans.
You got him.
No, beyond that, she is not a she is not a bad bass bitch girl. She gets her ass kicked like 70% of the time.
gives Cooper a vial of the ghoul serum to save him. After she leaves, Cooper heads inside and raids all of their supplies and watches one of his old cowboy movies. And I guess since he doesn't need the bounty from the Enclave guy's head anymore, he drops out of the plot for a while. And that's episode 4. Again, I'd probably have to give it another 4 out of 10. It was barely watchable. Again,
Fuck you.
the show is dumb as hell, but at the very least, Walton Goggins' acting is very entertaining to watch, but pretty much everything else about the show sucks. Now on to episode 5. The first scene in this episode is incredibly stupid. Maximus reveals to his squire that he's not in fact Titus, and so Maximus is like, listen, we got to get our story straight before we report back to the Brotherhood, but no, the squire guy is like, they're gonna kill you. Why the hell would they kill him, especially if he hadn't lied in the first place? But even though he did lie, he could just
I'll admit, this was a scene that was done badly. I hope you bring it up. I'll talk about it once we're done with this.
say that Titus died honorably in combat, and so he had to take up the power armor to finish the mission. Why would they kill him for that? They're not even supposed to be here in the West Coast. They were eliminated by the new California Republic. And by the end of New Vegas, depending on who you sided with, they were either absorbed into the NCR or wiped out completely by like all of the other factions. That's really something I should have mentioned in the first video, but my point is, it doesn't really make any sense to bring them back just to make them look this bad. Anyway, Maxis, being clearly an evil psycho, stomps on the Squire's foot, crushing it, and it looks horribly mangled when they show it later. But he manages to get behind him and removes the fusion core from the power armor, which of course the showrunner's doing zero research. Think that you get locked inside the armor when it runs out of power. Can you imagine in Fallout 4 if when you ran out of fusion cores, you just got soft locked? And don't tell me that's just a gameplay mechanic. That makes no fucking sense.
It's a gameplay mechanic.
Even in the dystopian world of Fallout, you don't think
All right,
someone...
now that you talked about his retarded reason, let me tell you why this scene actually flopped. Maximus did not get the story straight whatsoever. In reality, he just said Titus died. And that's it. That's all he told friggin' his squire. And so obviously the squire's first reaction would be like, dude, did you murder Knight Titus? Because he didn't actually tell him what really happened. He just said he died. So it's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna kind of like, I don't know about that one. No, that's not cut it. I'm not sure about that one. So it's like, you didn't bring that up. You didn't bring that up. And, you know, it kind of led to the events of, okay, now I have to kill this guy because now he's going to ruin everything that I've worked for. I don't know. Honestly, that scene was poorly done, but not for the reasons you think.
Someone would have brought up at some point that you get locked inside power.
So in the end,
armor
you're still
runs
wrong.
Out of power. Yeah, again, more bad writing and retcons, but no, the show never breaks the canon. The show never breaks the canon. I'm not an AI chatbot, I swear. Anyway, the next morning, a bunch of rad roaches tried to devour him alive, but Lucy just so happens to find him. Guys, how...
I want to see, what's the dislike ratio right now? 1.5K, 1.2K, 54K views released in a couple hours ago. I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset the page to see what happens. Then we'll see how much like the dislike ratio it turns out to.
And yes, I know Lucy has a tracker on the head, but the squire already left hours ago. What are the chances she would pass down the exact same path where the head was the previous night? Whatever, I guess I'm nitpicking again. So after a really long...
You don't say.
Pointless conversation, Lucy decides to trust him. Maximus is like the one guy she should trust because he literally saved her life. But anyway, they start traveling together and she asks him what happened in the last 200 years. And this idiot thought that when she mentioned the bombs falling, that she was referring to the nuke dropped on Shady Sands and not the world ending. So we've established that the Brotherhood of Steel is not only debatably evil now, but they don't even teach initiates basic history. Eventually, the pair come across two suspicious figures on a bridge, and Maximus, being smart for once, says we should draw our gun. Because we can't trust anyone, right? Because Lucy just told us that she doesn't trust people anymore, right? No, this fucking dumb bitch doesn't want to draw her gun, and oh, big shock, they turn out to be fiends. Yes, they're trying to throw a bone to New Vegas fans after shitting down their throat multiple times. And
I don't know.
one of the fiends gets a shot off on Maximus. He loaded a rotten tooth into his gun, which I'm not even going to get into that, but whatever. The point is, he gets injured because Lucy's an idiot. Then next up, we finally get to the biggest fuck you in the entire show, where we see the giant crater where Shady Sands used to be. It was populated with 34,000 people. And as they reveal in the later scene, it looks like they basically restored civilization back to the wasteland, just like I said in my review of episode 1. And like I mentioned in the intro, this is not where Shady Sands is located. Shady Sands is not in LA. It's like at least 100 miles outside of it. They could have looked this shit up on the wiki, man. There's no excuse. They didn't do any research. And Todd Howard...
I'm reading through. I didn't even know it was near LA, actually. I didn't know what the location was whatsoever, so whatever.
What Fallout's really about, and that's a post-apocalypse where humanity is trying to rebuild after the world ended. And by the time of Fallout New Vegas, they succeeded. The new California Republic dominated the state. They effectively brought the old world America back, though arguably even more corrupt, and it was starting to fall apart at the time of New Vegas. If you paid attention to the dialogue from a lot of the characters, especially Caesar, a big part of his motivation with the Legion was seeing the gradual decline of the NCR. But instead of seeing that happen naturally due to the results of the second battle of Hoover Dam, no, Bethesda just fucking nuked it back to square one. Somehow, just destroying the capital city wiped out an entire empire across the state. Why did Bethesda do this? Well, a lot of people speculate it's because of the long-running rumor that they hate Fallout New Vegas because they didn't make it, Obsidian did. And a lot of the people who worked on Fallout New Vegas worked on Fallout 1 and 2. And so, of course, to no one's surprise, the original creators of the series did a much better job than the hacks at Bethesda. And Fallout New Vegas is still considered by most to be the greatest game in the series. So Bethesda has been butthurt about this for over a decade, and this show was finally their opportunity to say fuck you to all the real fans of Fallout. That's exactly what happened, and that is why I fucking despise the people who like this show. Fallout died with Fallout 4, and this is just pissing on the corpse. In the last couple scenes of the show,
I thought New Vegas was
Lucy
fine.
and Maximus take refuge inside of Vault 4, and it's another vault that has somehow managed to survive over 200 years. Do the writers even understand the appeal of the vaults in the Fallout games? Discovering the horrendous experiments that either killed or mutated everyone inside is one of the most fun parts of those games.
Hey, but
And
didn't
while
you
it's
just talk
obvious
about
that
earlier about the idea of the vaults and your
some
whatever, dude.
experiments went down here, they
I'm really, I
subverted
might just stop streaming right
expectations.
now
I'll put it
because
at that.
I legit, there's nothing left to say but what I've already said. This guy's just nitpicking. You already see as a
I want to
bun.
see what he thinks of the last episode.
Do you want to just skip to the last episode?
Up to you.
Okay.
At this tri-vault system. We see that the residents of Vault 32 all killed each other years before the raiders got to that vault. And of course they sow the mystery of, okay, what did they figure out about Vault 31 that caused them to all kill each other? And so Big Schnoz does some digging. Despite being
Rico!
the manlet nerd chud guy, he actually has more courage than anyone else. Which I actually really like that. He's probably the most likable character in the
Synthetic likes character development. Oh no! How did this happen? Also, good picture. Rico!
show. What I don't like is his cousin being a cuckold and raising another man's child. And the blonde chick is from Vault 31, so she's one of the traitor people. And speaking of which, Big Schnoz finds out that all of the people who were elected overseer in Vault 32 and 33 were from Vault 31. And I find this very interesting given the type of people who like this show think that the 2020 election was the most secure in history, you know, of course. But
the
honestly,
fuck?
what I find even more interesting was the chosen number of 33. Those of you who are into conspiracy theories will know that number is associated with Freemasons. And that was definitely intentional, as you'll see with the twist in Vault 31. So anyway, somehow
Actually, I didn't know that.
all of Vault 32 is seemingly cleaned
Freemasons.
up overnight, and residents of Vault 33 are to be moved back into 32 so that they can restore life to it, and the experiment in the vaults can continue. Eventually, Big Schnoz hacks into the Overseer's computer
If he talks shit about the hacking, I'm gonna be upset.
and tries to communicate with 31 and is let inside. And the big twist that we discover
Or he just doesn't talk about the hacking.
is that the corpo guy, Bud Askin from the past, is now a brain on top of a Roomba.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is Borderlands. This is not Fallout. This is Borderlands. Whatever. Anyway, so
Well, no, honestly, if you want to think about it from a certain approach.
the big twist is that these vaults have not been
I also forgot to mention that the experiment is eugenics program to create the perfect managers for the future. That legitimately sounds like satire lol. The plan seems to have failed, judging by the G residents
And
of all
operate-
33. This is the part where you call me a where you're calling me a race. What?
For 200 years.
Oh.
They've been bringing people from the past out of cryostasis. Yes, this is another vault as cryogenic freezing. No, that wasn't just an experiment
My man
in Vault
was,
111. No, apparently it's also in Vault 31. So Lucy's dad turns out to also be
You know, I gotta talk
from
about how
the
funny the
past.
Roomba was.
That's all the Vault 33 subplot was leading toward. What a fucking disappointment. Anyway,
Fuck you.
back to episode 8. We see Maximus getting interrogated by the Brotherhood of Steel. No, they don't bring up that he impersonated Knight Titus. That plot point completely forgotten by the writers.
Fuck
They
Knight
do
Titus.
discover it's the wrong head, obviously. And he's about to be executed, but then the She-Man saves him by admitting that she placed the trap in her own boot. God, I hate
What is Todd Howard trying to tell us, guys? What's Todd Howard trying to tell us?
this show. Anyway, so now we get to the big climax where the Brotherhood of Steel flies over to Moldaver and her band of raiders slash
Hell yeah.
ex-NCR members. And the battle looks really fucking stupid. I know some of you are gonna think, oh, this is cool. Dude, there's a Brotherhood of Steel guy in power armor with no gun who just, like, slaps dudes and slams them into a table. It's fucking dumb, dude.
It's
It
cool!
only gets dumber because, of course, Cooper follows them all the way here, and he makes a comment about a fatal flaw with T-45 power armor, and he wonders if T-60 fixed the flaw. Of course it didn't. So he just shoots them all in the weak spot and kills them instantly. This show is so dumb, it's unreal. This is basically a Marvel
Nah.
movie. No, actually, that's an insult to Marvel movies. This is a DC movie climax.
Fuck
But
you.
believe it or not, it actually gets worse because Lucy is also here, and she learns that her dad is the one who nuked Shady Sands. Okay. And they explain this with one final flashback where we get to see a meeting between all the executives of the mega corporations. They have their own Illuminati, essentially, right here. And of
Yeah.
course, Cooper's wife represents Vault-Tec. And she suggests to everyone that they should nuke America first because they can make a profit off of the apocalypse. Guys, that might just be the dumbest plot point I have ever heard in any television show. Communists literally do not understand basic economics, supply and demand. You're telling
Okay, so I don't know. It was harder than that to say because I felt like it wasn't a thing where it was like. It wasn't a thing where it was like. Oh yeah, no, we can profit off more of this. I think it was a thing where it was they feel they can advance more by doing that. And honestly, if you want to think about it realistically, yeah, we can go by the China approach. Like, oh, it was actually China that dropped the nukes. But if you remember from the lore, if I remember correctly, China was mostly already taken over by America. So that couldn't be the case. So the only people that could have done it is America. And honestly, it's not even the thing about, oh, it's corporations, it's company greed. It's literally the idea of like the elitists in the country that are controlling everyone else. I feel like that was the idea it was going for. It wasn't like, oh, corporate greed. It was more of an elitist ideology than actual corporate greed, or at least that was my interpretation of it. If people did take a communist approach to it, which even in the show, they even bring up that none of it is a communist ideal. Like there is no communism in between it.
understand basic economics, supply and demand. You're telling me you want to kill off 99.999% of your customer base, and you somehow think you're going to make a profit. They've established Vault-Tec is a $1 trillion company in this show. They don't explain what they sell. We might as well just say they're Amazon. That's honestly a better headcanon than anything else you could explain. They also retcon Mr. House and make him to be an idiot. He says that he's not even sure the bombs will drop. When in New Vegas, it's established he knew it would happen. That's why he set up defenses to shoot down nukes. That's why New Vegas is in such great condition compared to every other major city in the United States.
In the movie form, in the show format, that's wrong. He actually disagreed with the idea of the vaults entirely. He disagreed with the plan entirely. I don't know. I don't know what this guy's trying to get at really with this whole scene. I knew he was gonna dog on it. So obviously, he's looking at it from like, oh, it's just capitalism bad. But I'm seeing it as more as like, no, it's high elitists. It's like it's government elitist, like it's government elitists and black and like Mason bad.
So again,
That's
didn't
my
do any
interpretation of it.
basic
It's
fucking
elitist.
research, but it doesn't break canon though. It doesn't break canon though. And man, they make this black woman so cartoonishly evil. On top of wanting to genocide the human race, she straight up says to the other executives of these companies that you can have some vaults and run whatever experiments you want in them. And that's how they explain all the crazy shit that goes down in the vaults. Holy fuck.
That's kind of the
You
idea.
can't defend this scene. It's too
I just did, and I will. That was the original concept of the vaults. So you obviously missed that. You're contradicting yourself again with an earlier scene, twice actually. The idea is you're trying to look at it as a capitalist idea. I'm looking at it as an elitist idea. So obviously there's mixed ideas right there, which everyone's entitled to their own shit. Who gives a fuck?
Like,
And
it's
you
supposed
didn't
to be
even-
about space travel. Like all the vaults are supposed to be testing things. Some of them are meant to keep people alive. Some of them are meant to test certain conditions to see what people would be like in space if they ever built a way to get off this planet. It was too late to basically save the human race.
Yeah, and the idea wasn't even like, oh yeah, we can make a better profit. It was really like we can make a better America, which means better profit. So obviously the entire everything was going to shit. With
stupid.
Russia and everything.
It doesn't work on any level. It doesn't pass basic logic. Anyway, back to the present, we learn what Moldaver's grand plan was. The
Yeah, just-
Enclave scientists stole the formula, code, whatever, the thing that activates cold fusion, giving the wasteland unlimited energy. So yeah, she was a good guy all along. It also turns out she's a lesbian and was in love with Lucy's mom. And also she keeps her around.
What? When was that?
Well,
When was that? When was that established? She was a lesbian. Even so, that's hot.
Maybe
like-
he wasn't expecting.
You want to know what? I
Yeah,
think
something.
Synthetic actually like due to like because he has the New Vegas syndrome, so he obviously likes men.
Oh.
It makes sense now. We figured it out, guys. He's just a bitchy gay guy.
Unlimited energy. So yeah, she was a good guy all along. It also turns out she's a lesbian and was in love with Lucy's mom. And
That's not true.
also she keeps her around as a ghoul, dude. This bitch is a psycho. So like I said before, Lucy's dad nuked
Yes, she wasn't really saying to begin with.
Shady Sands because that would have been competition for Vault Tech. Guys, I seriously can't take the show anymore. It was so painful to watch it up until this point. So whatever, let's wrap this up really quick. So Lucy's dad ends up escaping, gets the power armor. Moldaver is bleeding out. So our heroes decide to follow him out into the unknown. The Brotherhood of Steel obviously captures Cold Fusion, so now they have unlimited power on the West
All right, there
Coast.
you go.
Nice plan, Moldaver. You really thought that one through, you fucking idiot bitch. And the show ends with Lucy's dad coming across Vegas, and it's dead. They killed Vegas too. I've seen some copium from people who weren't fucking paying attention, probably because they're bots. But you can clearly see the wall has been breached. The power is off. I guess after the events of New Vegas, the tunnelers overran everything and killed everybody, or maybe the Legion blew up Hoover Dam. Actually, I doubt the Legion will even get mentioned in Season 2 because they're too problematic. But yeah, they destroyed New Vegas. As if they didn't shit down the fans' throats hard enough. So yeah, is there any
Yada, whatever.
conclusion? I'm sure this video already dragged on way too long. You know exactly what I think of it. If this was non-canon, it would just be mediocre slop that doesn't even make sense on its own. There's multiple major plot holes, extreme conveniences, and just plain old bad dialogue, bad writing, pro-communist propaganda that doesn't even make sense on a basic level. Some of the most diverse casting I have ever seen, and I believe there's 4 interracial couples in the show as well. Not to mention Lucy is arguably a Mary Sue, and there's plenty of women in positions of power. They made a black woman not only like the lead executive of Vault Tech, but also a genocidal maniac. So were leftists the real racists all along? That's certainly worse than anything I would ever write. But really, the worst thing of all is that it just craps all over the original game. And if that doesn't bother you, then you're not a fan of Fallout, period. The fact that there are a bunch of huge YouTubers shilling this show, including one guy famous for mentioning The Message, yet he never brings it up when talking about this show.
Oh my god.
What?
Synthetic just criticized the critical drinker.
for of huge YouTubers shilling this show, including one guy famous for mentioning the message, yet he never brings it up when talking about this show. I don't have to
Yep,
name.
that's all I need to hear. You criticize the drinker, it's all over from that point on. I'm with you, bro. You
Name him. You know exactly who it is.
you have
Well,
nothing.
Sold out, dude. A lot of the people. You
Everyone
I
is-
don't think a drinker would watch your fucking hour-long video, even though you said you weren't gonna make an hour-long video on this. You made a couple points being like, I'm not gonna get into that because this video would be an hour long. It's like, that's crazy.
No, he made it 59 minutes long. Don't worry.
Oh, you're right. Never
Oh,
mind.
You're right.
This
This just makes him slightly rush retarded.
red pilled, right wing, whatever. No, they're just grifters. Before I end this video, I want to throw another shout out toward the Archcast and Cretosis.
Blah 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 blah
Will
blah.
never
Whatever.
be a fan of Fallout. If
What?
story or even the basic themes. You will never be a fan of Fallout. If
There it is, fellas. We're not a fan of Fallout. We don't like the series. It sucks. We just think the show is good because they got a lot of things right. They didn't want to bring up China. They want to bring China up because it would hurt Amazon's profits. Okay, maybe that one is kind of true. And then I made. This is the last thing that gets me. Anyone who played the original game will know that the vaults were actually an experiment run by the Enclave, for them to test how humans would react under a condition or. There's a kind
Yeah.
of vault experiment.
That is literally what my... Yes, thank you.
Then this bitch comes along and more or less retcons all that to make it all the experiments were just whims and crazy, comical, evil capitalists with no empathy. Complete. Ah, fuck. All right, beyond that, okay, let's watch an actual good review.
I told you.
Deadpool?
Here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my...
Is
When
that
it comes to
Deadpool?
video game television adaptations, how they turn out can often feel like Lady Luck flipping a coin.
You've made your last delivery, kid.
Arcane, Edge Runners, The Last of Us, all landed on heads. And
Okay, in my opinion, never didn't care for
Delivery, kid.
all three of them.
Arcane,
Didn't care
You
for it.
didn't watch
Runners,
Edge Runners. Edge Runners was fucking good.
Okay,
The
you're right.
last
I didn't
one-
watch Edge Runners. I just don't really care to watch Edge Runners. But I'm ready to the other
Because you
two.
don't like
Give
anime.
less of a fuck about
Because
it.
you don't give a shit about the
all
medium.
landed on
Shh, we don't have to
You
talk
don't
about
go
this.
to it.
Then you have,
Look, I'm synthetic. I'm synthetic. I have to push a narrative here.
and of course there's the fiasco with Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher show. So when I heard that there was a Fallout TV series in production, well, I was a little skeptical. But those skepticisms were laid to
Same.
rest, and the only thing I could say was,
What in the goddamn?
I expected the Fallout TV series to be average at best, but it is unbelievably good.
You want to make my cock explode now?
The Fallout show was produced by Jonathan Nolan, brother of Christopher Nolan, and if you know
Beautiful.
these guys, you know that they rarely miss.
He gets it.
The TV show has renewed interest in the other Fallout games as well, causing a recent surge in their player counts. Likely because the show reminds people what they love about Fallout.
I have an idea. What if I were to do like a thumbs up?
There it is.
So this video is going to be mostly spoiler free, but if there is something I want you to experience in the show yourself, then I'll put something up on screen. This video has no sponsor because it's sponsored by me. Cringe! And my public Discord server, the Act Clan, which you should join right now. It's a great place to talk about games, shoot the shit. and
This
just have a
guy
good
seems like
time.
he has
We
very
also have a
valid
channel where you can
opinion.
post fan edits.
The
and-
Ackman actually
You know what?
making
This
some
place
good
is
content.
cursed. I'm
A
actually
very
going to
common,
delete it.
very
The show
common
follows a
W.
trio of main
No, I like
characters.
Ackman. I think there was only a couple times where I had a couple disagreements with Ackman. Outside of that,
33, who goes into
He
the
drops
wasteland
bangers.
to rescue her dad, the Ghoul, aka Cooper, a former movie star turned bounty hunter, and Maximus, a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, who has aspirations of becoming a knight. Now, I'm going to assume you're familiar with the premise of Fallout. Nuclear warfare threatens the world. Company named Vault-Tec is contracted by the government to create fallout shelters, aka vaults. Nuclear war does break out in 2077. Hundreds of years pass. Well, let's open the vaults and see what the world is like. What the fuck is that? The Fallout universe is expansive and deep. I mean, these are RPGs you can play for thousands of hours. There's 27 years worth of lore and backstory to tap into. So translating that to the big screen was probably the hardest thing about making this show. But they've managed to capture the essence of what makes Fallout Fallout. But just like the games,
Thank
it's not
you.
solely about the main objective. It's also about the breadth of side content and side characters.
Yes.
There are tons of quirky, funny people that populate the wasteland, and they do a great job of illustrating how people have adapted to this new world. I figured we should talk about the criticisms and get those out of the way, because there's not too many. The biggest and obviously most important critique, Ron Perlman doesn't voice the intro. F.
I agree. I fucking
Yes.
agree.
See,
God bless.
see, like
He gets it.
Ackman is actually getting down to the nitty gritty and giving us stuff that we want to hear. Synthetic is just saying stuff just to say stuff. Honestly, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm gonna put it Synthetic versus Ackman. So
You
far,
know what he's doing? He's bitching.
Synthetic.
Synthetic bitches. Yeah. He's just bitching about
F
the
in
show.
chat.
Yeah.
He's giving a review.
Important
Ackman
critique,
is giving a
Ron
review.
Perlman doesn't voice the intro. F in the chat.
You know, I don't know if you know this, but war.
Ron Perlman has been in every Fallout. So
What
it's a
the
little disappointing that he's not here.
War never
Regardless, the show
changes.
still has a
See,
fan-
humans, they have they have the benefit of the doubt.
Humans want the benefit of
The doubt. God, I love John Tron.
sequels. The show also doesn't go out of its way to explain all of the tech and lore of the universe, so if you're not already familiar with Fallout, some things might be confusing or unclear. But because the show is good, that'll make people curious in the lore, and they'll want to look things up. You know, what are the other vaults like? Some of the fight choreography, mostly like hand-to-hand combat stuff, can look a little soft. Sometimes characters are put in really dangerous situations and they just kind of bullshit their way through it. But the biggest complaint I've been seeing is about retconning. The history and lore of Fallout is really fucking cool. The series has been around since '97, so naturally fans want to protect that, especially since the show has been confirmed as canon, so it needs to line up with the other games. Now, I'm no expert on the lore of Fallout, and typically I'm not one who obsesses over lore in video games and consistent timelines and all that. It's pretty easy for me to suspend my disbelief if what I'm watching or playing is amazing, entertaining, and immersive enough. But since the show has been confirmed as canon, this is a new direction for the Fallout series. It could have a huge impact on the next game. Obviously, people don't want Bethesda to fuck that up. Now, this is my perspective as a Halo fan. If retcons and lore consistency are the biggest complaints people have, that's a good problem to have. The producers of the Halo show created an entirely new timeline just to fuck it up and intentionally
Oh god, it's
ignore
lagging. What the
lore
fuck's
of
going on?
Halo. That's how far they wanted to go in the not Halo direction. So often we see adaptions that look and feel nothing like the source material. What I'm trying to
Yes,
say
this is true.
is that I'm bitter. I'm bitter that you guys have a great show. And that's not to say you can fuck with the lore as much as you want as long as the end product is good, but it's nice to keep things in perspective, you know? The show is great, it's entertaining, it 100% feels like Fallout in every way, and that's what makes the Fallout TV series so awesome. Its identity and tone.
Goosey McLean.
Oh, no, it's Lucy.
Who is that? Who's that actor?
Nope.
I like how he puts on. I still like how he puts on the glasses, even though he has one eye.
That's beautiful. It makes no it's just dumb and it works.
Nope. It says Goosey.
Fallout is part post-apocalyptic depression-fueled nightmare and part hilarious dark comedy. They absolutely nailed
Yes,
this vibe.
you must be Adam family fucked up to enjoy.
We all are, Norm. That's why we live in a vault.
You can tell that great care was taken to get the details, the intricate subtleties just right. Sound effects like for radiation are there. There's a lot of things hardcore fans will notice and appreciate. I don't think there was ever a joke in the show that made me roll my eyes, groan, or sigh. No Marvel-esque, uh-oh, he's behind me, isn't he? The humor lands, and it's funny. A lot of the jokes are purely visual. There's one part where this character, Thaddeus, is waiting for pickup at a radio station, and he's talking to the radio operator who's trying to tell him about how nobody appreciates the music he plays. And Thaddeus is just like, oh, yeah, cool. Then it zooms out, and he says,
great job on these booby traps, by the way. Really good. Hey, thanks.
and it's like, all these people died because they wanted to confront the radio guy over the shitty music he played. The show is also wildly out of pocket at times.
You want to have sex?
You mean use my cock?
Yeah.
Men will get a signal like this and straight up be like, I wonder if she's into me. You'll be blindsided by some crazy shit that happens. If you don't audibly shout, what the fuck? At least once while
Straight up
watching this,
tells
then you are a
you,
robot.
will
cannot
you
feel
like
emotion.
fuck me?
No, that's straight up. I remember
That's
seeing some of these scenes, and I was actually thinking about it with Scrubs, and I was like, what interesting thing to say.
That was very interesting.
Honestly, that's why I feel like there's some of the writing. Also, that was the writing there where I feel like it got a tad bit sloppy. But outside of that, Synthetic Man actually said, capitalism, it's about anti-capitalist propaganda, so we're good.
So each group of vault
That's the
dwellers
least of our
is kind
problems.
weird and different in their own way. Lucy comes from a vault where everyone is super optimistic, naive, soft, and kind. And so much of the comedy revolves around the contrast between, you know, her obnoxious, upbeat attitude and what's really outside of the vault. They do a fantastic job of showing what life and culture is like in this vault. At one point, they hold an election for new overseer, and one of the candidates says,
You ran a great campaign. I know. Must have put 10 posters up. What you gotta do when you put a few posters up and let democracy run its course.
Ads! Synthetic Man didn't have ads in this video, Ackerman. This is cringe.
The right model.
This is cringe, Ackman. I'm gonna have to block this post.
Put a few posters up and let democracy run its course.
Yeah! For democracy! For democracy! For democracy!
Janelle,
Kill a trillion
actress
Terminids!
Lucy, said she wanted to approach the role like Ned Flanders in the apocalypse. This is the most accurate description of her character. She's fucking awesome. Throughout the show, she almost reflects like the player's experience playing Fallout for the first time. You know,
Exactly.
You start off naive, like,
Fuck,
well, how
he
bad could
gets
it be?
it.
And
Thank you for
Perfect.
showing me this. You've now convinced me to watch The Axeman. This guy, like,
Wait, you never watched Ackman before?
this is- I've seen his videos. I don't really watch reviews. I usually maybe watch Critical Drinker every now and then, but it's like, dude,
Ackman has it right. Ackman has it right,
He
yeah.
fucking gets it. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, you watch a film from 2007 or something, early 2000s, you're like, yeah, this is low-key kind of bad by modern day standards. But you know what? Fuck you. I love it. Like, it's still valid. It still holds meaning. It still holds some, like, depth. Like, I still enjoy it. I don't know. And to get caught up that deeply in such a complicated lore that the majority of the audience would not fucking understand is retarded. Obviously, they're not going to fucking do that. If they are going to go into lore, they're probably going to do it next season because people are going to be more invested. They're probably going to be looking into the information more. The general audience, the target audience, is generally going to know more about the lore. And the fact that this I mean, don't get me wrong, the conversation needs to happen because it's going to keep Fallout genuinely lore accurate, which is what we all want. We want to be able to see the story unfold.
It just kind
the
of
way
sucks that like House is already dead, and we're not gonna be able to see the messenger and like all the
yeah.
that sucks. That sucks. We're not gonna be able to see New Vegas. Like we're not gonna see the beautiful lights of the Vegas Strip shine bright. But outside of that, I still think they can still work something out. They try
Well,
hard
they
enough.
might go fully alternate universe. Like, is New Vegas canon?
Honestly,
New Vegas is canon,
all I
right?
want to
It's
see,
like made by
all I want to
Bethesda.
see is their interpretation of Joshua Graham, played by Mel Gibson. I think Mel Gibson is the only person fit to play Joshua Graham. No one else. No one else. That's
You
my
know, I think you're right.
by the end, you're like, this place is fucking awful. Lucy's character arc going
Oh, pause it. You know who should play it?
Mm.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman as Joshua Graham. Despite how cool the voice would not work. He's too like.
Fuck you. I don't care.
Fallout the Wasteland is a really
It would be
interesting
so
one. Now, it
cinematic.
wouldn't be Fallout
Very
if there
valid.
wasn't some extreme violence and gore. And to be honest, the show kind of drops the ball here. It's really tame. We do a little trolling. No, the violence is insane. Exactly like the games. People get their legs blown off, they get dismembered, decapitated, and the effects are amazing. A lot of times I can't tell what, if anything, is CG or green screened. The show is simply a spectacle to watch. At one point in episode 2, I was like, why are they using so much slow-mo? Then I realized I'm a fucking idiot. They're recreating the iconic cinematic kill cam. It's amazing.
You get
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit.
It's so good. Now that I think about it, I don't know if I saw any energy weapons or laser guns in the show, but there's so much from
If you
Fallout
can't
to
tell,
tap
Synthetic
into,
Man didn't
and we gotta have
talk
stuff for
about
season 2, right?
No, because
There's
man,
a
I don't
language to
care.
cinema that has not been ignored. The Fallout series does a lot of showing. Scenes are often
I don't
carried
think he
by the
likes Fallout.
expressions of the actors. They dictate a scene and tell us
Maybe.
more than words could.
Actually, I'm with that. I don't think I ever played Fallout.
Phenomenal. You know, brevity is the soul of wit. They go for a less is more approach with dialogue. And this works really well in scenes where Norm is uncovering the dark secrets of the vault. and
Rico.
What's really going on. And one of my pet peeves in storytelling is when
Rico
I
from
notice that
Hannah
I'm being fed
Montana.
exposition. Like when characters talk in a way that feels like they're speaking to the audience, they're just not looking at the camera. Bugs the shit out of me, takes me out of the story. But in the Fallout show, I get so wrapped up in what's happening that I forget when scenes are meant to inform me of something important. This is a sign of well-written, thought-out dialogue that lets the viewer feel like they're uncovering things with the character and not just being told about them, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. What
you
makes the
felt
show
like
so
you were just kind of
easily likable
watching.
is how it pays service to the fans.
You're living the world of
Numerous
Fallout.
References, callbacks. Every episode had me like, yo, that's that thing from the games that I'm not going to explicitly mention because you should watch the show yourself so you can have that oh shit moment like I did. Now, I've been bringing up a lot of things that the Fallout show doesn't do.
He's wearing that
things it
Benny
doesn't
drip,
make,
too.
And I think that's
Yeah.
equally important to what it does well when making a show like this.
This is what a
Because
true
if
New
the
Vegas
fan
fan is
service
like.
too on the nose, too blatant, you know, it can feel like a Fallout's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, you like that? You like that shit? And there's never a moment like that. Everything feels natural. It's just the right amount. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched the entire show. I'm gonna mention some references, Easter eggs, and cameos that I thought were really fucking cool. So if you want to have those oh shit moments yourself, skip to the timestamp. All right, now that it's just me and you, me and the real Fallout fans, how about that
Spoilers.
fucking Mr. House cameo? That was
Yeah!
awesome. And all those scenes where Norm is like, you know, on computer terminals, I was just waiting for the hacking screen to pop up. And when it did, oh, I don't know why I got so hyped on that. I was like, there's no way Norm's gonna fucking crack this password. And then of course he did. But Norm has obviously spec'd into science and intelligence. You know, little stuff
Yes.
like that, just, it gets people excited. One of my favorite lines of dialogue that
Yeah.
summarizes Fallout and Elder Scrolls better than any sentence ever has.
What about the head? I need the head to get my dad back.
Yeah, well, the Wasteland's got its own golden receiver.
Oh, what's that?
Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time.
Bruh, it's exactly like the games. I also thought it was hilarious when Night Tide
See, it's like Ackman understood. He got he got it. Because how what Synthetic said, oh, it's just get it because it's like the game. Oh, so quirky, oh, funny. But Ackman understood, like, no, that is literally accurate to the games. I can comprehend that because that's accurate. Synthetic was like, oh, it's dumb and quirky. Ackman was, yeah, no, I agree. I like that. It's a nice touch. And it's
is
freaking because
fighting
it's
the
actually
Yao
funny.
guy, and he just starts
Like,
running
I haven't played a lot of Fallout. I don't play a lot of it myself. But even I knew, yes, thou shalt be sidetracked by bullshit.
away like fuck, shit.
Same for Skyrim.
Yeah.
Same for most
Because
quest
even when you
games.
have power armor, that still happens in the games. That moment when Lucy is in Vault 4 and she holds up the end service to the fans, with numerous references, callbacks. Every episode had me like, yo, that's that thing from the games
Wait.
that I'm not gonna exit. The show can never and cameos just crack Even when he is in Vault 4 and she holds up the ends, fuck, when Knight Titus is fighting the Yao guy, and he just starts running away like fuck, shit.
Yao guy. That's right.
Because even when you have power armor, that still happens in the games. That moment when Lucy is involved.
Real shit. Same thing. I'm actually like synthetic is the opposite. Literally, I'm with you. Actually, I'm gonna say right now, I don't think synthetic plays the Fallout games. I don't think he plays Fallout. I think he's full of shit.
I think he's played New Vegas.
That's it. That's all he's played in New Vegas.
Vault 4
You
and she
should
holds up the
see if
NCR flag as the
there's an
Fallout
actual
theme
gameplay of
plays.
him playing Fallout 1. Yeah, the music.
Don't get outmatched by the
They
Yao
played the
guy.
actual
Reclaim your
soundtrack.
backyard.
They kept it with the original soundtrack, which is what everybody wanted.
Fan
Oh, they-
service done right. Spoilers over. Another way they pay fan service is through the music, ripping some of the most iconic tracks from the games. They got the list of best bops from the series in here. They have music that was featured in the games, but also entirely new tracks. And they fit so well within the scenes that I'm like, did they come up with this song for this scene? Because it always seems to match the lyrics with what's happening on screen. It's uncanny. When Maximus and Lucy are walking along some railroads, it plays a version of I've Been Working on the Railroad. There's a ton of examples. Watch the show yourself and see how many you can find. Also, you might notice that the outro for each episode has that slow moving zoom out that you see at the start of Fallout 3, New Vegas, and the first game. It's such a nice detail.
Fuck yeah.
The show does a really great job of exploring the themes of Fallout in new and interesting ways. It's a very deep narrative that you'll feel rewarded for paying attention. There's a lot of foreshadowing that can probably go over your head, and watching it a second time, you'll be like, oh. Now, I haven't played all the games, but I believe that a lot of the pre-war stuff that happened is rarely covered in Fallout or shown. The show does a fantastic job of swapping between past and present and seeing how things led to nuclear war, who was responsible, why. The way backstory is woven into what's happening in the present is phenomenal. You slowly understand what's happening in the present and how what happened in the past caused the bombs to drop. The Fallout show may have some flaws, and people who, really care about the lore may not care for it, but it's extremely faithful to the source material. For me, it's everything and more I could have hoped to see from a Fallout show. At least a Fallout show that runs for 8 hours. Can't fit everything into a single season. And can I just say, the ending? The final shot?
More episodes.
For me, the show does so much right that what it does wrong can easily be overlooked in my eyes. Swept out of my brain. When the audience knows and can feel the passion you have for the source material and you clearly respect it, you can get away with some mistakes. This is a show that I could recommend to pretty much everyone. Fans of Fallout, gaming fans who have never played Fallout, or people that don't even play video games. Take notes, other
No,
video
we
game
gatekeep.
adaptations. This is how you tap into the
First,
elusive
Ackman
broader
L.
audience.
He didn't
By
promote
staying true to
gatekeeping.
what
Very
made
cringe.
The source material appealed to a broader audience in the first place. I cannot wait for the next season. I am looking forward to it. I
Yes.
have just been installing a bunch of mods to go replay New Vegas again. There's a lot of potential with the Fallout show. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the
I
comments
think-
below. Who was your favorite character? What was your favorite scene? Leave a like if you enjoyed the
I think I want to go down to see if people have said something about synthetic. Man, wait a minute. That looks. Who is that, man? Pickle drinker. I want to see if people have said something about that man's. Okay, first of all, we're not looking to Hassan Abi. We're not. He doesn't count. Freaking degenerate. He's even bigger degenerate than synthetic. I don't know, deep. Let me see. Go to homepage.
After 12 long years.
Shut up. I'm just amazed. She actually really went out against the drinker. I thought the drinker's review was fine. Drinker critical. Thank you. I thought his review was fine.
Same.
Beyond that, actually, hold up. Let me go back to synthetics. Let me go back to synthetics video. Let me see how much dislikes this one got.
As
Wow, really? Then again, this didn't really get that much views. How much did this first one get? Because this one was really bad. Ooh, split in between. Wait, what the hell? Why does this say? Oh, whatever. Does this guy not like anything? I feel like almost all his videos are shitting on everything. Yeah, he's obviously a cyborg, ChatGPT, fall guy. Like, no, it's just rage bait, more comments, more views, whatever. Beyond that, I enjoyed Ackman's video. Thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think Synthetic tragically misunderstood everything in Fallout, but that's okay. Not everyone gets it. Thank you for the 2 people that decided to watch my shit. And just like the good old Pip Boys, and just like the good old Fallout little Pip Boy guy boy thing, whatever. I don't play the games that much anymore. It's been a long time, all right. All right, don't blame me. What's happening here? Well, fellas, all I can do for you is give you a wonderful thumbs up. That's right. We're out of here, baby. We're gonna kind of end. I want to end it on just this thumbs up as I clear off for the night of this stream. There we go. Thumbs up. Ooh.